Have you ever wondered what it means to truly give? Not just donating money or old clothes, but giving something so precious it feels like a part of your own heart? Today, we re-dive into one of the most profound stories of selfless generosity ever told, the Vessantara Jātaka. This isn't just an ancient tale, it's a timeless lesson on the perfection of giving, or what is known as Dāna Pāramī. Long ago, in the magnificent kingdom of Sivi, a prince was born unlike any other. His name was Vessantara. From the moment he came into the world, it was clear he was special. While other princes might delight in wealth and power, Vessantara found his greatest joy in giving. His heart was a boundless well of compassion, and he shared everything he had with anyone in need, never once thinking of the cost to himself. His generosity was legendary, a light that shone brightly throughout the land. But soon, that very light would be put to its greatest test. The kingdom of Sivi possessed a magnificent white elephant. This wasn't just any animal. It was a sacred symbol of prosperity and good fortune, believed to bring rain and abundance to the land. The people cherished it, viewing it as the heart of their kingdom's well-being. One day, envoys arrived from the neighboring kingdom of Kalinga, which was suffering from a terrible drought. Famine and despair gripped their land. They had heard of Prince Vessantara's incredible generosity and came to him with a desperate plea. Could he lend them the royal white elephant to bring rain back to their parched fields? For Vessantara, the choice was simple. Seeing their suffering, his compassionate heart couldn't refuse. Without hesitation, he gifted the sacred elephant to the neighboring kingdom, hoping to end their hardship. He acted from a place of pure empathy. However, his own people didn't see it that way. To them, giving away the symbol of their prosperity was an act of betrayal. Fear and anger spread like wildfire. They saw his generosity not as a virtue, but as a reckless disregard for their own security. The public outcry was so immense that they went to the king, his father, and demanded the unthinkable. Prince Vessantara must be exiled. Faced with the anger of his people, the king had no choice but to honor their wish. And Vessantara, ever obedient and compassionate, accepted his fate without a word of complaint. He understood his people's fear, even if he didn't share it. He chose to honor their will over his own comfort and royal status. He prepared to leave the palace, but he would not go alone. His devoted wife, Princess Mad, a woman of incredible grace and strength, refused to leave his side. And so, with their two beautiful children, Jajali and Kahajinin, they bid farewell to the splendors of the court. The family left behind a life of luxury for an uncertain future in the wilderness, trading a palace for a humble hermitage in the forest. Life in the forest was a world away from the palace. They lived simply, foraging for fruits and roots, finding peace in the quiet rhythms of nature. Vessantara and Mad dedicated themselves to a life of spiritual practice, teaching their children the ways of the forest. For a time, it was a peaceful existence. They were a family, together, and that was all that mattered. But the universe had one final heart-wrenching test for Vessantara's perfection of giving. This test would challenge the very limits of human attachment and love. One afternoon, while Mad was deep in the forest gathering food, an old haggard Brahmin named Jātaka appeared at their hermitage. He was bent with age and leaned heavily on a staff. Jātaka had heard tales of the exiled prince who would refuse no request. With a cunning plea, he asked Vessantara for the ultimate gift, his two beloved children, Jajali and Kahajinin, to be his servants. He claimed his own wife demanded them, and he would be lost without her. Imagine the agony of this moment. A father being asked to give away his own children, the light of his life. Vessantara's heart shattered. He looked at his innocent children, his love for them deeper than any ocean. Every instinct screamed to protect them, to refuse this cruel request. But in that moment of supreme trial, he remembered his vow. He was practicing the perfection of giving, which meant detaching from all worldly things, even those most precious. He understood that true generosity meant letting go of everything, including his own fatherly love, for the sake of a higher principle. With tears streaming down his face, he took his children's hands, poured water over the Brahmin's hands to seal the gift, and entrusted them to Jātaka. This was the ultimate sacrifice, an act of letting go so profound it's almost impossible for us to comprehend. When Mad returned to the hermitage later that evening, her arms full of fruits for her family, she was met with a deafening silence. The children were gone. Panic seized her heart as she called their names over and over, her voice echoing through the empty forest. She searched frantically all night, her feet torn and bleeding, her spirit breaking. When she finally returned to Vessantara at dawn, exhausted and filled with dread, he told her what had happened. Overcome with grief, she collapsed at his feet, weeping uncontrollably. But as her tears subsided, something incredible happened. She looked at her husband, saw the pain in his eyes, and understood. She knew his action was not one of cruelty, but of supreme, selfless compassion. In an act of profound devotion, she bowed before him, honoring his commitment to the perfection of giving. She supported his ultimate sacrifice, sharing in his journey towards enlightenment. The story doesn't end in sorrow. The gods, watching from the heavens, were so moved by Vessantara's unwavering generosity and Madak's incredible devotion that they decided to intervene. The Brahmin Jātaka was, in fact, a deity in disguise, sent to test the prince. As he journeyed back toward the city, he was guided by the gods to the court of Vessantara's father, King Sanjaya. The king, seeing his own grandchildren being treated as servants, was heartbroken. He paid a handsome ransom to free them. Meanwhile, the people of Sivi, having suffered misfortunes since Vessantara's exile, now realized their mistake. They understood that their prince's generosity was a source of spiritual strength, not weakness. They begged for his return, his family restored and his name cleared. Vessantara was welcomed back not just as a prince, but as a revered spiritual leader. He returned to the kingdom, not with pride, but with the same humble heart, and ruled with wisdom and unparalleled compassion. His journey had come full circle. He had proven that true generosity is not about giving what is easy to give, but about giving with a heart free from attachment, expectation, or regret. His story became a legendary symbol of Dāna Pāramī, the perfection of selfless giving. So what can we learn from this powerful story today? The Vessantara Jātaka teaches us that the highest form of giving isn't measured in wealth or material possessions. It's about the spirit behind the act. It's the offering of our patience when we are tested, our forgiveness when we are wronged, and our compassion for all beings, without exception. It's about giving from a place of love and selflessness, letting go of our attachments to see a greater good. It reminds us that the most valuable gifts we can offer are kindness, understanding, and an open heart. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the heart of giving. If this story touched you, please give this video a thumbs up and share it with someone who might find it meaningful. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that inspire and enlighten. Until next time, may you give freely and live compassionately.